Okay, second one for the day. Gonna do the good old floating cup again because I do love my floating cup. I've got a colours mixed up already. I've got I must be having a pink day today. It's a metallic. It's almost like the hot pink of the India ink that I used. It's like a iridescent hot pink. White. I got some gold. I don't know which ones I'll use. I just sort of go with it when I start pouring. Some more black. I had some black left over from the other pour, and I just mix up a little bit more. And this is like an iridescent type of blue colour. I've never used this paint before. It was recommended to me by a friend in the group, Rebecca Plan, and it's an iridescent. You can see it's got like a purpley pink. It's actually really thin. I was quite surprised. I did actually mix a bit of Floetrol with it, but no water, because it is quite a thin. I don't know whether they put it out. It's actually from Bunnings. I don't know whether it's been put out as a pouring paint on its own, because you can get some that are already pre-done where you don't have to mix anything with them. I have a feeling it might be, because it certainly feels that thin. So they're the colours that I've got mixed. What I use, I don't know. I always tend to, I notice that I go a lot for blues and white and teals and turquoise. So I'm really trying to expand my colour palette, because that's what I like, but it's not necessarily what everyone else likes. So I've still got my teal in here, and my gold. So I'll just put a little bit of the black on, as you've seen me do the floating cups before, where I just put a black, almost like a pillow on, then sit the cup on, and that's just a cup that I've cut. I'm not sure what colours to go with first. I think I'll go with gold. This might look absolutely trash. It might be. Okay, so I'll pull some gold in, a fair bit, and I'll just let that start to float out. And again, as you've seen before, sometimes you just got to lift it just a little bit, because it gets a suction, and the gold will start to come out. I might go with some pink now. The more paint you put in, the more it sort of starts to push it out. And yeah, it's just got like a, so I'm just giving it a little lift, because it's getting a bit of a suction. A little bit more black. Sometimes it takes a little while for that to come out. You can see it's starting to come out now. I'll go with some white. And I'm never in too much of a hurry when I'm doing a floating cup. I like to see how it starts to progress. Otherwise you end up with this big heap of paint on here, and you end up tipping it all off. So I'll just see what that starts doing. Let's put a bit of this iridescent. It's a beautiful colour, so it'll be interesting to see how it's. I can see it selling up in the cup. So I'll just let it move out. It's definitely taking its time. Some more pink. I don't know about you guys, but I tend to go through colours, and I always go back. Look at this cell popping up here. That's from that one there. So it's starting to come out. I always just seem to go back to those good old turquoise, white, blacks, whereas I should expand a little bit more with people's taste. I did a really bright orange one. I don't know if I showed it or not, but it was really out of my colour scheme. Orange, black, and I think some silver in there or something, and it was nice. Like I went, okay, it's nice. And someone snatched it up real quick. So, it just goes to show that my taste is not everyone's taste. Have a look at that selling. I cannot believe what that's doing. And all I did was mix a bit of that paint with Floetrol. It's really selling. So I might put a little bit more gold in. The gold doesn't seem to be wanting to do much today at all. I'll push that out a bit more. I'll put a bit more of this in. And I'm never really gentle when I'm pouring in for a floating cup. I sort of go probably about 1.5 inches from the top and pour in. So yeah, I'm not sure whether that's the iridescence that's starting to, see how this is all starting to sell up. That's a lot of selling going on there. Put a bit more white in. Oh, I just dropped a blob of white there. Just try to keep it centered. My boards are level, I did level them. It's just sometimes the paint wants to go, if I'm pouring it in the cup, you know, just to one side it'll go. I'll put more pink in. That blue. I think the blue with the black and the pink, it's almost throwing like a Pale's grey sort of colour. It's really quite pretty actually. Some white. I do love my white. I love my contrast. I love lots of contrast. I had to do some clocks at Christmas time that were pastels. I think I did upload those videos and show you, and they were great. I loved them, but they just didn't hit my spot because there was no big contrast. I love that boom in your face of contrast like this here. This is just selling unbelievably. So I'll put more. It's not a lot of the gold, so the gold must be sinking. And as you know, I've said before, I don't measure and do all of that when I'm mixing. I just put my paint in, I go 1-to-1 Floetrol, and then I mix it to consistency with a bit of water. That's all I do. Yeah, it could be wrong, it could be whatever, it's just what I do. You'll find your way and you'll find what you feel comfortable doing. And we should just, you know, just respect each other as artists and have a look at it in their eyes and their beauty. It may not be to your taste. I'll put a bit more black. But just be respectful of each other, that's all. It's about helping each other out and helping each other on the journey of finding where their comfort zone is. Some people might not be comfortable doing acrylic pouring, they might be more comfortable doing resining. And some people are just more comfortable doing baubles or tumblers. I mean, I do all of them, but I don't do baubles. Sorry, I can't do baubles. I just don't do baubles. But I love doing cups. I just love doing cups. And my resin and my acrylic pouring I've been doing for a few years now. I just like, that's almost giving like a tie-dye look. It's just amazing what it's doing. I can't believe. I'm just going to use the rest of that. And just tilt it a little bit. But it's giving like a tie-dye effect. So it'll be really interesting to see what this dries like. See, now I'm getting lots of paint on here. I don't want to have to tilt this one too much because of the beautiful effect that I'm getting. So I'm just trying to control a little bit where it stays, and it's spreading. A bit more white. So if you've got your paint too thick, as in consistency, and there's too much on the board, it will crack. It will take ages and ages. I mean, you cannot resin over an acrylic pour. I wouldn't touch it less than a week. And even then, that's too soon for me. I leave mine go a week or 10 days. 10 days is probably about my minimum, because the paint underneath is still wet on the board, even though you can touch it and run your hand across it and you can say it's dry, it's dry, it's really dry, but it's not underneath, and that can cause a clouding and a hazing effect when you do your resin. So that's my personal preference, a minimum of 10 days. So if someone wants a Lazy Susan, it's, you know, it's at least a 2-week turnaround. So that's starting to spread out now. I'll put a bit more. I don't, like I said, I don't want to tilt, so I'm going to try to get it to run over the board. Not really much of the gold wanting to say hello today. I can see little touches of gold. I'll pour the rest of that gold in. And I've been so busy with doing cups for the last few weeks, and I did a couple of Lazy Susans that I'd already poured, and I was resining them. I really miss my acrylic pouring. Like, it's where I started, and I always come back to it. Like, I love resin art. I love it, and there's some beautiful resin artists out there that do amazing work, but I'm just not one of them. I just love the effect of acrylic pouring. It's I don't know, it's just, when you go back to it, it's just a feeling like coming home. It's something I need to do. You know, if I don't do a pour for a while, I really need to. I didn't trim that tape properly. Now, I don't want to pour too much paint, but you can see this beautiful effect that we're getting. I'll just pour a little bit more. Just a little bit left. I don't know how to finish off that middle because you know, I've said it before, I hate blobbies. I'm just thinking how I'm going to, I don't really want to spin it. But if I put too much black in, it's going to push it out too much. I'm just trying to do like a little sort of design in the middle. There, I can lift the cup. So I've just got that in the middle. I don't know what to do there. This is starting to drip off. I might have to tilt it a little bit. Yes, I don't know. I might. It's a little bit too stark, but I don't want to lose. The effect. This is where I should be putting my gloves on. Right. So I'm just going to tilt it just a little bit just to get it over the edges. Just a little bit.